Hey, you guys. This is really quick, and I know y'all don't like it when I do these really quick lives, but I had something I had to get off of my chest really quickly on this Juneteenth. The ancestors have been jumping on my head since this morning. I've been feeling I've been feeling all kinds of stuff, but something occurred to me, and as usual, I said what I said, so here it goes. Um, I've been hearing a lot of men on TikTok and these other platforms talking about how the black woman requesting or seeking out child support is them working with the white man to disenfranchise them financially, and that they are using their children as bargaining chips, and that by receiving government aid, it makes you an accomplice, or that you chose welfare over having a man in the house. First of all, if your contribution to your household can be replaced by what you get from welfare, what were you really doing? Actually, also, most of these men who say these things don't realize that when they started seeing an increase, and this is for you guys to do the research, I'm just giving you a once over, but if you do the research, you can see. After World War One, World War Two, a lot of black men that went to go fight came back, suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, were on drugs, addicted to drugs, weren't getting proper medical care. No one wants to think about that. Nobody wants to think about the terror that was unleashed on our communities. Then, we get into the 50s, 60s, and 70s, high amounts of drug addiction. Then we get into the 80s, more drug addiction, more drugs that were being flooded into our communities. All of these men that want to use these talking points ignore the fact that it was they themselves who are terrorizing their own communities. It was they themselves who were literally a danger to the women and children and other men in their communities. And yet they want to blame black women for absolutely everything. And so why I felt like this was important to say on this here Juneteenth and right before Father's Day is because if you have to receive accolades and praise to do your job, my happy Father's Day isn't for you. If you need somebody to tell you how much they need you, and to beg and plead and to grovel to get you to do what the fuck you're supposed to do, when I say happy Father's Day, it's not for you. If you think that a woman is trying to take advantage of you for expecting for you to financially contribute, what's happened in our community is that we have centered so much around the plight of the black man that we've ignored the plight of the black woman that has also been experiencing oppression right alongside with you, including enduring you coming in and treating us poorly when you get home because of how the world has treated you. So if you're the kind of man that needs to be begged and pleaded with and constantly told how special and important you are, and what, a delicate flower you are in order for you to show up for your own children, my happy Father's Day ain't for you. Okay. And just because he totally deserves it, I watched my husband, whose children he had before we got in a well, one of them was here before we got together. One of them came very shortly after. We have taken L's and gone through struggles in our relationship because of his commitment to being a present father, even when he wasn't 100% sure that what he was doing was the best. What he was most worried about was his children, because he put his children first. That meant above everything else, he put his children first. It wasn't because him and his baby mama got along so well. It wasn't because she was super, amazing and appreciative of everything he did. It wasn't because I fully 100% understood what he was trying to do. It wasn't because of that. It was because he knew that he decided to be a father, and that's what the fuck he was going to do. He's never had to be begged. He's never had to be pleaded with. He's never had to be asked to help. He's always done his job, because his job is his job, whether or not someone asks him or not. So if you're that kind of man, or you have that kind of man in your life, give them all that they want for their Father's Day, because they deserve it. But they are rare. And men that don't act like that, I don't have nothing for you. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to give you a parade because you showed up. That's your fucking job. And I just really feel like we got to, as a people, elevate past this black male worshiping, we're just happy you showed up kind of thing. You get an award for participation, like in kindergarten. Like, why are we doing that? We're adults. If you choose to be a parent, you show up and you do that job. If you don't want to, and somebody has to beg you, or you feel like it's got to be easy for you, or it needs to show up in a certain way, you probably shouldn't be a parent. Being a parent is hard. Being a parent is full of sacrifices. Being a man is hard, and it's full of sacrifices. And there's a handful of them that actually do that. There's a handful of them that understand, as a father, that sometimes there are other men in our community that don't do that job, and they show up in the ways that they can, like my husband has for my sons. He didn't say to me, what did you do? How can you fit? He knows these are the things that occur in our community, and yet we still want to obligate the women to fix it. No woman is going to be able to make a man want to be a father if he don't want to be. You see single women and their children and their sons, don't blame her. Because if his father wanted to be there, he would be. I'm tired of the myths. I'm tired of it. I know way too many women. I have clients who've told me, I still talk to the nigga just so he would come over and see his kid. Most of us aren't even expecting financial support. Most of us are just hoping that he'd show up for a birthday party or a basketball game every once in a while. Let's keep it real. We need to stop with these myths about who these men are. Most of us are paying for these men to take their children to go do stuff. I know because I did it. We need to keep it real about what this really is. The men that show up financially, physically, emotionally for their children are rare in our community. And part of the reason why is because we have allowed the standard to be so low, we don't hold them to anything. Your girl over here, I hold you to a standard. You're not going to get a happy Father's Day from me if your baby mama got to beg you to come over. If she's got to bake you a cake and make you dinner and let you sleep with her for you to come see your kids. My happy Father's Day ain't for you. My Father's Day is for men who have showed up for their wives, and the ones that aren't married that show up for their children, the ones that go to work every day and work overtime to make sure their kids have what they need, the ones that make sure that they interact in a respectful manner with the woman that they are no longer with. My Father's Day is for the man who is married and doesn't really know how to be a husband, but is doing the best that he can. That's who my happy Father's Day is for. These other people, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. I'm not going to pretend with you. I'm not going to play this game with you. I had a father. I married a man who I knew was a good father, and that's how I'm going to keep it. And my sons better be too. And guess what? If they become deadbeats, they will get no support from me. Because as mothers, we got to stop coddling our sons on their bullshit. If your son is a deadbeat father, why is he able to still go and come to you and complain about his baby mama if he ain't doing what he's supposed to do? We have to change the culture within our community. We got to have actual standards in our community. We have to. The standard of fatherhood is not subjective, y'all. It's not dependent on your situation. The standard of fatherhood is a standard. And if all of us actually supported the couple few men that we know that have been full, complete fathers, those men should be held up in high esteem. It's been time that we call people to the mat. The standard of manhood is not subjective. It's not dependent on how you feel or what you haven't had. Your standard is always what it is. If your daddy wasn't a good father, then you fucking better be, because you know better. It is not the responsibility of women to go and find mentors for boys. It is the responsibility of the men in the community who see these fatherless children to stand up and do something. It's not our job. That is y'all's job. Men need to be doing men's work. Women, we got to step out of the way. This is how we get masculine. We get considered masculine because we're trying to No, if you are a man and you see a boy who obviously needs a man to step into his life and you don't do it, that's on you. This concept of I'm only responsible to the men, to the women and the young men in my family that I care about, that's not what this is. That's not how you nation build. That's not how you nation build. Getting on Instagram talking shit about all the money that you have that you're not using to employ a community, that's not nation building either. That's not nation building either. And honestly, I'm at a place where unless and until you can show me the lives that you've directly affected, I've moved families. I'm a woman. So unless you are doing some like actual heavy lifting where you are directly affecting the community, you don't want the smoke with me, because I've actually committed myself to saving lives, to building community, to creating opportunities for people. You're not impressing me getting on Instagram talking shit about what you think you're going to do, what you might maybe do. I'm over it. I will not be providing any support of any type. No donations, no nothing to any black man who isn't taking care of his family. We have to get our priorities back in order. Why are we listening to men who aren't active fathers, who have children and who create baby mamas? Why is that? Why is Umar Johnson getting money from our community when he has children that he doesn't provide for or take care of? Why are we supporting young Pharaoh when he just left his baby mama who just had a baby? I'm just asking questions. Because as a woman, nobody would listen to me if that was the case. We have to raise our standards. We have to. And I understand that I am fortunate and that I had a present father who stayed married to my mother, went to work every day. He was a wonderful provider. He could have been a better protector, to keep it real, but he did the best that he could. I'm proud of my husband for the kind of dedicated father that he's been in the face of chaos and not really knowing what to do and not having a super appreciative situation with his children's mother. But yet and still, he shows up and he does what he can. But this is a requirement for me. I'm not fucking with you if I don't trust you as a man to follow through with your responsibilities. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. It is a requirement. Part of what attracted him to me was that I'm a good mother. It's a requirement. It was more than just, are you cute and da da da. No, we were looking for actual character traits. And so I'm calling us as a society on this Juneteenth, on this day before Father's Day, if the man who is the father to your children ain't shown up, don't call that nigga. He doesn't deserve it. If your daddy wasn't shit, you don't owe him a call. You don't owe him a card. You don't have to send that. If we don't come out and create a standard of behavior, who's gonna? But if you know a man that's really done his thing and he's an amazing father, show up, shower him with appreciation and love and gifts and letters and cards and everything and hugs and kisses, because they deserve it. So when I say black man, I love you, it is not to all. It's to the ones that deserve it from me. Gary Preston, Justin Stalls, my husband Lee Charles Richardson. There's another couple of gentlemen that I follow on Instagram. I don't follow very many. L. Summers, all of y'all, you stepfathers, you uncles, you fathers, you grandfathers. My father has stepped in a lot of ways for my sons. Any man that does that work, I salute you personally. I salute you. I pray for you. I will pray that you are protected by the divine feminine, by the divine mothers, because you are moving within your role. Everybody else who ain't, you're out of order. And whatever catches you in the street catches you. I mean that. I mean that. The standard starts with me. And I hope that you guys feel comfortable standing in your standard for you. If your daddy wasn't there and tomorrow is painful for you, feel those feelings. Cry it out. If you're hurt because the child that you have, that you love so much, is not loved the same way by their father, cry it out. Say it. Don't stuff it, and don't pretend. If you're sad because your daddy wasn't there, cry it out. Don't pretend. But what we need to stop doing is lying to ourselves. And we also need to stop giving people trophies for participation. Let that be a flame under your ass. I love you guys. Bye.